right, everybody. Welcome to Best Coast Podcast, where camaraderie brings rivalry sports fans together. I'm already starting out bad.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Best Coast Podcast, where camaraderie brings sports fans together. Is that better?
That sounds better. I'll try to make it sound more fancy, but my tongue just did not want to say rivalry.
Don't use words you don't know what they mean, James.
I know what rivalry means. My tongue just doesn't want us to do the R's.
Rivalry.
You know, I used to be able to roll my R's until I had this weird brace to go across the roof of my mouth, and now I can't roll my R's worth a damn.
There you go.
Nope, not anymore. I used to be able to do it.
Go get a refund from your fucking dentist.
Dude, I was so pissed that they put that bar in. But my teeth are straight.
Oh, well, that counts for something. I'm over here with a fucking jacked grill. That's why I hide it behind a beard. So.
Oh, dude, my teeth were jacked. It's like, boom. You know? Yeah, they're hiding from each other. And
I was going to say, it's like someone told me almost like your teeth are playing a game of hide and go seek from each other. Like,
exactly.
It
was that bad.
Yeah.
But so now they're better.
Welcome to Dental Talk with Zach and JJ.
Right.
On top of everything else, we're amateur oral surgeons.
Exactly. Hey, my parents would probably be happy I'm talking about all the money that they put into my mouth.
Yeah, see, we were poor. That's why my teeth look as fucked up as they do. No money for that shit. How much your braces? Yeah, he's gonna have crooked teeth.
All right. Let's get into these college football playoff talks here. Penn State, Notre Dame. Notre Dame's quarterback out. How big of a blow is that, man?
It's huge. I personally picked Penn State in this game. By the way, as we're recording this, they're at halftime right now of the Orange Bowl.
Right.
I had picked Penn State in this game simply because I thought their defense was going to be too overwhelming against Notre Dame's quarterback. The quarterback is probably the weakest position of the 11 starters on offense for the Fighting Irish. And then they also lost. Was that their center? Or I got home late, so they also lost offensive lineman.
So they lost. I think it was a left tackle and then a right guard.
Okay,
he went down at the end there too.
Right. So I mean, they're shorthanded. This was going to be a defensive slugfest to start with. These are two, elite defenses, and you're definitely seeing it. With Notre Dame now being down the little bit of offensive leadership that they had, I think you're going to see Penn State open it up and probably try to take some shots defensively, or some shots offensively in the second half.
I heard too that their locker room is riddled with the flu.
Notre Dame. Yeah, they're donezo.
So yeah, it's just. I mean, they're holding up though. I think their defense is looking killer, man. Their defense is
holding in there. But I mean, think about it, if they're riddled with the flu, missing offensive linemen, and they're starting quarterback, how many 3 and outs can you really do and keep running your defense back out there until something pops?
Right. And that's kind of what happened at the end of the half there. That's how they got their big 7. You know, you could tell that Notre Dame's defense was tired, and they finally broke a big play.
Yeah.
So
it is. I mean, hey, Notre Dame, I will admit that usually I make jokes about how you're completely undeserving to be in the college football playoff. This year, you actually came out and won some games in convincing fashion, but I believe their road stops here tonight.
Unfortunately, I like their quarterback too. I thought he was looking good through the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know, for being not like the number, not like a well-known name brand. He led them out for a couple of victories, and you know they all rides on the back of your quarterback.
Absolutely, no, I'll agree with you on that. Like for a dude who wasn't spoken of, like the Quinn Ewers or the Carson Becks, or anything like that. Yeah, he represented himself well. I'll give you credit for that. But I think you see the difference, between the different stratas of where he is versus dudes who are going to be like top 5 picks in the draft.
Right. And the Penn State quarterback probably next year will be a top 5 pick of the draft.
He's looking good. And dude, everyone said the same thing about Carson Beck coming into this year, and he had a bad season, and now his arms tore up. He's actually he's going to go into the portal and going to try to play one more year to salvage his draft stock. I mean, everything looks great right now, but all it takes is a bad year, someone rolling up on an ankle, can change how things go. So we will see what happens with Penn State. And their QB, and again, all the attrition that's going to happen. Think about it, coaches it's no different than the NFL when you make a deep playoff run. Coaches on these staffs, you
get poached
portal,
so hard.
You're getting poached. guys are going to start entering, are going to declare for the draft and go.
Right.
The team that you're running out there today is definitely not going to be the same team that you run out there next year.
And in college, it's way more. It's a lot different every year from year to year as the team goes. Some star talent stays and gets developed, but a lot of people can go and they move quickly.
People move around. It was Matt Rule at Indiana was talking about how there's been an overall reduction in scholarships because of the NIL money across the board. And so you've got guys who you brought on with scholarships who there's not going to be a spot for them next year. So you're looking at depth. You're looking at the bottom. Again, it's going to be the bottom quarter of your roster. Dudes who you need practice bodies and stuff like that. The overall effect you're going to see across the college landscape. So it could be interesting to see how that plays out, especially over the course of a couple of seasons, as you see the cumulative effect of that.
They definitely need to start reeling in some of these NL deals, or just at least start having a structure around these NL deals and people leaving so quickly, or at least the scholar with NIL deals.
Forgot a letter, buddy.
I forget a lot of things. I'm not surprised.
Me and you both, dude.
What about this upcoming Texans versus Ohio State game? What do you think is going on here,
Texas,
Matt?
Ohio State. The fact that it's in Dallas, this is practically a home game for Texas.
Right.
And I think that Sark is a better coach than Ryan Day. I think that Texas offense, especially Marcus Golden, dude, I mean, he is top. He's one of the best wide receiver talents I've seen in quite some time for Texas.
Right.
So I think that's going to be the difference maker. Ohio State, we all saw what they did against Oregon, and we've talked about it several times. That is more of a result of Oregon not being prepared, and that 100% is on Dan Lanning. You're not going to catch Stark and a Texas football team, down there on the sidelines with fucking McConaughey and woo, yeah, all right, and all that.
right.
Again, in Texas, playing on the Star, this is a home game for Texas. And to me, that's a huge difference maker. If this was more of a neutral site game, okay, maybe it might swing a little bit the other way. But to me, this has got a Texas victory written all over it.
Right. I agree. I do want to see Ohio State, but I do think Ohio State will come out and make it a game because it's the Ohio State University.
Right.
They know how to actually sit out there and play ball. They know how to game plan a good game.
Sometimes they do. Like, are we going to get the Ohio State that showed up against Michigan or the Ohio State that showed up against Oregon? No one knows. I think Ryan Day is a little bit overrated as a head coach and as a game planner. I think he benefits a lot from the fact that the name Ohio State allows you access to a ton of recruits.
So many.
The romance of playing in front of 100,000 people in Columbus every Saturday, it gets a lot of talent to come your way. Defensive linemen alone, like the pedigree of defensive linemen that have come through Ohio State in the last decade, is huge. So I think Ryan Day benefits a lot from that sort of influx of talent. That being said, this is a storied program, and I will say that this being the Final Four teams in the college football playoff, awesome.
I think
I think Riley Leonard's coming back in.
He looked like he was warming up. He was doing that whole let me get my arms warming up. Yeah. But it looks like their backups got their helmet on. But backups wear their helmets all the time in college. We'll see. They're about to kick it off right now and start the second.
Yeah. So that's what I look at there. I think it'll be a close game. I don't think that it's going to turn into a blowout, but I think it's going to turn into a track meet, and that's where Texas has the advantage.
Right, I agree there too. All right, touchback. Let's see here. Come on, just pull out. Come on, zoom in on the quarterbacks right now. There, don't go to these guys talking. No one cares.
You're a little ahead of me, dude. They just kicked off.
Oh, okay.
So, anyhow, and then we get it on a week later. That Monday, we get the national championship, the 20th.
Something like that. Yeah, I think it's the 20th. Right. So since I'm ahead of you, Leonard is out there.
The backup?
No, Riley Leonard's out there.
Oh, Leonard.
Okay. Yeah. No.
Well,
all right.
If I'm Penn State right here, let's blitz 7. hit him.
Right? Yeah,
Like,
just
you know,
came
I'm
up
not trying
in
to hurt anybody, but if I'm a defensive coordinator, it's like, go get him, boys. Go get him.
and a false start or something. I don't know what's going on.
Because they know. To be back on their heels, man. So
right. This is where you come out. Start with a couple of runs because you know they're going to blitz and. Oh,
well,
really?
like he missed. Quarterback is coming off, sitting on the bench and halftime for a little bit, getting your offensive flow, run some plays, get the blood flowing, and then use the run, set up a play action, and tell them that you count to 3, and then you throw that ball into the first row of the stands. Get rid of it.
Yeah, and then Notre Dame's got a solid running back. He hasn't done much today, but that number 4, he's usually been running all over the place.
You're playing against a top flight defense here in Penn State. Like, yeah, you're going to struggle running the ball. You're going to struggle. Woo! Yeah. You're going to struggle running the ball. You're going to struggle, trying in pass protection. Like, this is the nature of the game.
It is. It's 100% the nature of the game. That's why I can't wait to see this Texas-Ohio State game. I know it's going to be a little bit better.
I think it's going to be more offense for sure. Definitely more offense.
Right. Don't get me wrong. I like the defensive slug out, but watching Texas versus Ohio State on Friday night is going to be something to watch for these college football playoffs.
It's Friday night football in Texas. Like, there's been how many fucking country songs and movies and TV shows and books written about this? There's probably a museum full of art based on this shit somewhere in fucking Texas, dude. So yeah, it's kind of romantic, if you're into that sort of stuff. If you're into banning books and restricting reproductive rights. Yeah, Texas. Oh, you don't like having your power on when it's hot or it's cold? I'm to Texas.
Nah. Yeah. I like it. I just like it dark all the time. That's all right.
It's like, very, very grim, very grim.
Hot as hell every day. Doesn't matter winter or summer. Even though they are going to get snowed in, there's a bunch of snow coming.
I was talking with some of my people in Georgia earlier today, and everyone's battening down the hatches because when it snows in the South, everything comes to a screeching halt. Like, you would think that people have never driven in moisture on the roads in their entire damn life, dude. It's silly.
I can see it. I can definitely see it.
Now, granted, as a guy who now lives in the snow and just like, I just got to go to the store.
Let me slide around a little bit.
The irony of all those giant, massive trucks in Texas struggling with, an inch of snow is hilarious. $80,000 truck. Can't go up a slight incline.
Nope. They don't have snow tires or ice tire. The snow tires.
People think that trucks are really good for snow. They're not. There's no weight in the back unless you have 4-wheel drive. That's a little bit
right. That's why you throw all the hay bales in the back.
Right, or dead bodies, or oil barrels, or whatever.
Right. Oil barrels will work too.
Whatever you got out there, like dogs, boxes of ammo, cases of Lone Star.
There you go.
I don't know, like, man, there's some horrible things I could say, but I'm already in enough trouble on the internet about what Texas back there. Leave it at that.
All right. Well, since we're going to leave it at that, let's go ahead and move on to the pro football. The playoffs are just starting.
One of the more fun weekends of the year. You see some teams who just snuck in. And there's some new faces this year, which I like. I like seeing some fresh blood in the playoffs. Some teams that we've seen a lot the last couple of years, 49ers being one of them, and not participating this year. But you've got some new teams. You've got Washington. You've got San Diego, which are two of the top teams. You got Minnesota coming back and making a return.
Right.
The Salacious 16.
There you go. That's just what we're calling it. The Salacious 16 here on Best Coast Podcast.
If we could play some of are they going to give it to them? They blew it dead.
They blew it dead.
If I would have thought ahead, I would have stolen some music from the Hateful Eight and tried to get Tarantino to sue us because we need the press. But I don't know, maybe we get down to the 8. Hey, do something with that. So,
right.
Yeah, let's jump to the bracket here. JJ, you go first. Let's see what you got.
My bracket first. All right, hold on here. Let me pull up my bracket. Boom, boom. Share that, buddy. All right. Here's my bracket. So, of course, I got the Rams winning the whole damn thing. No surprise there.
Fucking delusional.
You know, hey, we almost beat the Lions. We can do it.
Have you
Our
checked?
biggest.
Have you checked your house for carbon monoxide leaks? Jesus Christ! Yeah,
Hey,
you
the
almost
only
beat the Lions. You did beat the Vikings. You're not getting past the fucking Eagles, dude. There's no
that's
fucking.
also that's
Yeah,
what I'm
okay,
most worried
all
about.
right, all right. Just as long as we're
Yeah,
realistic about
yeah,
that.
yeah. No, I'm not delusional about that. Like this is where I'm gonna like pray to every
Just
god I know, including the number one god. You know, just everything
go and
right
create some.
there.
Yeah, I'm gonna create some new higher powers to pray to try to get this pulled off. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
But I got the Bills going on the other side. I think Josh Allen finally pulls it off against the Chiefs in the conference championship. Um, and then I was bouncing between the Texans and the Chargers all day today, and I finally just like no. I think C.J. Stroud's got that willpower in him, just kind of like how the Jaden Daniels is going to have the willpower to take on Tampa Bay and kind of turn the tide in the fourth quarter like he has been the last handful of games. But I was thinking, like, I did have a slight incline on the Broncos beating the Bills in the wild card round. Like, the Bills just kind of overthinking it and the Broncos
Yeah, I
stepping up.
mean, it would take a definitely a sense of comfort on behalf of Sean McDermott and the Bills to overlook that. But I also think that Buffalo knows that this is their opportunity this year. Like
Right.
there's no Cincinnati you have to get by. Kansas City is probably the weakest they've been in the Reed Mahomes era. Like this is their shot, and I think they fully get that. Josh Allen has put together his best season,
Mm-hmm.
as a starting quarterback, and has put this team on his back and carried them to that record. Um, yeah, I
Yeah.
think that they all know what's at
I,
stake.
we all know. I still think Josh Allen should be the MVP if it's
Mhm.
not Joe Burrow. Don't get me wrong. What Lamar Jackson's doing in Baltimore is phenomenal. I just think Josh Allen is doing it better with less weaponry. Right? He doesn't have a Derrick Henry to kind of alleviate some of that run game.
Well,
You know.
James Cook has had a great season. The young receivers and the unheralded receiving core that Josh Allen has had to work with has been very impressive. And
True.
they're also not working, well, granted, now there's Baltimore, with the defenses that they've worked with in the past. That
Mm-hmm.
being said, I do have to give a little bit. I think it's Josh Allen by a nose in the MVP
Right.
race.
Right. I agree. Just barely, maybe like 1 or 2 votes, and Josh Allen gets it.
Right. I think it'll be very close. So
All right. You ready to see Zach's
let's get into it here.
playoff bracket? Here we
All right, I'll
go.
start over here. I'll start over here in the NFC. I've got Philly getting by the pack. You do have to wonder if Jordan Love doesn't get hurt week one against Philadelphia and Brazil. Are they 14-3? Are they as good? Do they have the same record as the Lions and the Vikings? Because this has
Right.
been a Green Bay team that has absolutely looked outstanding at some points this year with injuries all over the field. Who would have thought those 2 games that Malik Willis won would have such a bearing on them getting into the postseason? It's huge.
Right. Yeah, it's huge. 100% huge.
That being said, Jordan Love hasn't been 100% all season, and Green Bay season ends the same way it started with a loss to Philly. Tampa Bay, Washington. I picked Washington in this one. Tampa Bay, like they're just Mike Evans and Baker they're gutty. Like you just
Right.
love these two guys together. It's just guts all day long. But defensively, I do feel like Washington with Brian Robinson, the return of Austin Eckler, Terry McLaurin, just the Kingsbury and his play calling, Coach Bro getting these guys riled up. Jaden Daniels probably going to get some MVP votes himself. Definitely the offensive rookie of the year, without a doubt there. I think it's too much for Tampa Bay. Washington runs it from there. Rams Vikings just got moved to Arizona. Swung the
Huge.
spread 2 points in Minnesota's way, and I think that
So Minnesota was favored. It was only a 1 point spread.
it was 1 point. No, but now it's up to 2.5.
2.5. Is it at 2.5 now? The last I
At
looked,
two
it
and a
was
half
at
now,
2.
yeah. It's swung at a 1.5. So it's at 2.5. And the thinking behind that is, for one, the Rams have had to deal with the distraction of just the horrible fires that have been going on in Southern California all week.
Horrible.
And there are a lot of Minnesotans who reside in the Phoenix area as snowbirds, because today up here we hit a high of 22 degrees. It's balmy out. I have short sleeves on. That's how warm it finally got here today. So I feel like the movement of this game may have just turned it into a home game for Minnesota, because the other question is how many Rams fans are going to be able to get out of LA to travel to Phoenix. So I think that's the difference maker there. In the divisional round, Detroit and Washington, I think that's going to end up being an instant classic. I think that game.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm good. This is what I'm waiting for. I want to see this so bad.
Bet the over on that. Bet the over, because you're going to see Jaden Daniels and Jared Goff, stand on 10 toes and go at it. It's going to be a great one, but Detroit's going to end up winning it out. Minnesota, I don't know if it's going to be another wide left situation, but Philadelphia and their ability to run the football and play smothering defense. They're healthy on offense for the most part. The receivers with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert. Philadelphia, and then you run the football. And everyone knows that in the postseason, when you run the football and you play defense, you control the clock, that's how you win. And so that's how Philadelphia gets to the second round. Detroit's injury woes finally catch up with them in the conference championship game. They just can't handle Philly. That defensive front that is so beat up. Aiden Hutchinson not cleared to play. I don't think they should rush him back from this injury. You got too much football ahead of him to risk, that becoming a long-term problem with that leg. Saquon Barkley runs for 180, 3 tutties. Philadelphia goes on to the big game over in the AFC. I don't see the upset. I don't see Sean Payton and Bo Nix pulling it off against Buffalo. I think Buffalo actually wins that game pretty handily. I think Denver hangs in the first half, but Buffalo puts them away in the second.
That's what I was kind of thinking. Like, it's going to be a closer game than people think. Denver's just not going to get blown out by the Bills. At least that's what I think. I think Denver's got a chance to make this game gritty and make Buffalo play hard to win this game.
Make them earn it. I get that. Baltimore and Pittsburgh. The Steelers are sliding.
Right. I mean, you can't go into losing 5 games in a row, 6 games in a row, something like that.
And also, like, George Pickens, where you at, bro? Where you at, George Pickens? Like, that. This is you've got to, if you're going to be a number one receiver, you've got to show up. And I think it also shows why the Steelers were
looking for a wide receiver.
They were so interested in trading for Brandon Ayuk in the offseason. Why they were 100%. Willing to go first for him. And I think that is something the Steelers will 100% address in the offseason, is to get another receiver on the other side of the ball. Because when Pickens just goes off into wherever he was last Saturday night, that offense screeches to a stop.
Houston, I agree.
Houston and the Chargers. Houston, also another team that's sliding right now. They've been beat up down the stretch. Them, really, most of it's injury-wise.
Right, so they get Nico Collins back, and they get their linebacker back this game. Off of the suspension. That's what took me over the edge. That's what took me over the edge, is that they get their linebacker back, and so they get that solid defense back. And I think Herbert has a tough time getting over the hump of the Texans defense.
Right. To me, it's more of an issue of C.J. Stroud he's dealing with the sophomore. I'm not going to call it a slump, because he still has had some outstanding games this year. Right. But they got a lot of tape on you now.
Mm-hmm.
Houston's not sneaking up on anybody any longer. And so I think that offensively is where they struggle. Harbaugh does what Harbaugh does in the postseason, which is win a bunch of football games. And Houston gets to the second round. Buffalo, Baltimore. I got Buffalo taking this one. I think this is also going to be a really, really good game. But postseason Lamar shows up again. He gets the yips, misses some easy throws, gets careless with the football. Buffalo takes advantage of it. I have Kansas City. Their season of dumb luck finally comes to an end at the hands of Jim Harbaugh, Justin Herbert,
and the Chargers,
and the Los Angeles Superchargers.
Dude, that would be amazing if that really did happen.
Look, and I get that they're going to be in Kansas City. It's probably going to be like negative fucking balls. It's going to be at night. You're going to have the Taylor Swifties and Mahomes' annoying wife, and who knows, God, fucking Jason Kelsey will probably be like, doing play-by-play shirtless from the parking lot or something wacky like that. The officials, we know what the officials are going to do. We know what's going to happen there. But I don't think it's enough. Kansas City, they've ran out of luck. They should not be 15-1
No,
whatever,
15-2. Yeah,
Yeah,
they got lucky a lot this year.
Yeah. There have been their luck runs out. Chargers winning on a walk-off Cameron Digger field goal.
There you go.
The excuses happen. People cry. There's blood in the streets. It's a sad day. Sad day in Kansas City. In the conference round, I got the Chargers against the Bills. The Chargers cool. We beat Kansas City. Yeah, fuck it. What happens from here? Yeah, Buffalo handles them easily in Buffalo for the AFC Championship game. They go back to the Super Bowl for the first time since the Jim Kelly and Marv Levy era. And Josh Allen does what Jim Kelly couldn't do and gets them over the hump. And what I think is actually going to be a very competitive game is going to be, I think, similar to the game to the Super Bowl that they lost to Kansas City a couple years ago.
Watch Buffalo sit Josh Allen for their backup like they did to Jim Kelly or to Doug Flutie and put Kelly in there.
Dude, Jim Kelly is like 70 years old and has cancer.
Well, no. But they put in Josh Allen's backup.
Oh, no,
like they did to Doug Flutie.
You're talking about the divisional game where Jim Kelly got hurt and they put in Frank Reich?
Doug Flutie took him all the way to the champ. Yeah, they did in the 90s.
Flutie never took him to a Super Bowl?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, he did.
No, he did not. Buffalo has only been to 4 Super Bowls, and it was the 4 in a row with Jim Kelly. They lost all 4. They lost to the Giants, they lost to the Redskins, and then they lost 2 in a row to Dallas.
Yeah, their first Super Bowl, Doug Flutie took him to the Super Bowl.
No, he did not.
Yeah, he did. Jim Kelly did not saw all those games.
Yes, he did.
We'll have to look at because I watched a documentary of Doug Flutie just like a few weeks ago.
I am looking it up right now.
Doug Flutie took him all the way to the Super Bowl, and then they benched Doug Flutie for Kelly, and they lost that Super Bowl. And then he started the rest of the year. He took him to 4 more or 3 more, and then they lost every Super Bowl with him in there.
No, he did not. He played for Buffalo in 1998.
No.
Yes.
Oh, I was thinking, shoot. Know what I was thinking? It was when they lost to the Titans. That's what I was thinking.
Yes. Yeah. No, they benched Doug Flutie for Rob Johnson. And
that's what I was thinking.
The Frank Wycheck, Lorenzo Neal, like, on that kickoff. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Okay,
yeah,
I got confused.
Wade Phillips benched Doug Flutie for Rob Johnson in that playoff game, and it almost worked. Right. It almost worked.
That's what I was thinking. Okay, that's what. My bad. I got confused in the timeline.
Okay, I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about, dude?" Doug Flutie was winning like championships and MVPs in Canada during that era, but not then. So I have Buffalo winning the two of the drunkest fan bases in the NFL coming together in New Orleans. Hasn't that city been through enough?
Nope.
We're gonna unleash. We're gonna unleash. Go Birds and Bills Mafia on downtown New Orleans for a week.
Dude, that would be an epic. This would be an epic Super Bowl showdown, dude. In New Orleans, dude. Those fan bases alone would tear that city apart.
It's going to be ugly. They're also going to probably set some sort of record for gallons of alcohol consumed.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like, New Orleans is going to have a new definition of party after these two show up there.
Well, New Orleans has a very high and well documented history of partying, and they've hosted a lot of Super Bowls. There's been a lot of partying there, but these two fan bases in particular, like, they're known, they're renowned. So. But I've got that. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think at the end of the day, Buffalo guts it out. Josh Allen's going to do what he's done all year and carry them across the finish line here.
I'm just going to stick with my delusion, that the Rams are going to win it all. I do like your Chargers over Texans pick. Another good game that it's either going to be a really good game this weekend or a really shitty game is the Eagles-Packers. That's either the Packers are going to put up a show, or the Eagles are just going to steamroll them. I feel like that's going to be a 50-50 game.
The loss of Christian Watson, and granted, he's been in and out of the lineup all year long. Like, I don't know if he has the durability to be a full-time NFL wide receiver. but that's a definite blow to the offensive game plan for the Packers. Are you going to be able to run the ball a lot with Josh Jacobs? And let's be honest,
they should be able to. Josh Jacobs is a solid running back.
He's a solid running back, but he's running into a beefy, a beefy front there with the Eagles. And let's be honest, like Jordan Love hasn't been healthy since week 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I mean, how mobile is he going to be able to be in the pocket? Is he going to be able to get away from pressure? Like he's thrown some bad interceptions this year while under pressure. And I think anybody knows that Philadelphia is going to go in and dial it up and try to get after him. I think the game to watch this weekend that's going to be absolutely awesome is going to be Tampa Bay and Washington. I think that's going to be fun.
That's why I think they put it on the Sunday night game.
Yeah, no, that's going to be a good one. And then again, the wrench that got thrown into everyone's schedule with moving the game to Arizona, it creates a very, very large unknown. I just hope they sell the place out. It's a playoff game. People should be stoked, Like
I guarantee the place will get sold out still because it's a playoff game. Arizona fans will show up, even if they're, if there's a playoff game in my city that it's not my team, I'll be showing up to that shit.
Oh yeah, well, like same thing. If they were to move a playoff game here because it's a dome, because of weather or whatever like that, and give away discounted tickets, dude, for sure.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be giving out discounted tickets because there's no way that, especially what's going down in LA right now, that a lot of those fans aren't going to be able to travel as like they would want to.
Right, I fully agree, and it
sucks because
it's horrible. I mean, this is a thing that you work all year for, and then it's an act of God. It's completely uncontrollable of what's going on down there, and you can blame it on big man rumbling. You can blame it on. I mean, climate change. You could blame it on, cutting of the fire department budget, which I think is actually a legit thing to complain about. You cut.
Hold on. So they cut that $17 million for LA County and LA's fire part. That $17 million is only 2% of their budget.
But still, it's $17 million. It's like you shouldn't be cutting in a place that is known to catch on fire. You shouldn't be cutting any of the fire department budget.
Right. And then the other thing about they're going to say is probably the water shortage. There's no water shortage. It's just there's not enough pressure and not enough electricity when the electricity's out to run all these pumps.
Well,
there's water in there.
And let's also point out this thing too is like maybe don't build houses in places you shouldn't. Like maybe the same thing across the American South. Build things where hurricanes go, and then be like, "Oh man, our house got wiped out again." It's the same thing. Yeah. Mother Nature does not give a fuck about how much you spent on your house or your insurance policy or anything like that. She's going to go where she wants to go. So,
yeah.
All that being said, it is the footage is gnarly, dude. It's the wind gusts of up to 100 miles an hour. It's a hurricane of fire, man.
Yeah, it is. It's literally, and there's nothing nobody will be able to do about that. I don't give a shit what fire department you have. 100 mile per hour winds and fire going through. LA's only had less than a percentage of rain since November.
Right.
Of their annual rainfall.
Right, exactly. So everyone's like, "Oh, why is it? Shouldn't it be wet there right now?" Again, you have to look at it's been a weird weather year. It's LA. Yeah. It's a weird weather year. And so you just feel for all the people. You see everyone scrambling to get out of there.
There's a reason why
another fire started today because of all the embers being blown about.
Right.
It sucks, dude. It's almost like, what do you do at this point? Do you just let it burn until it burns itself out?
What do you do? Kind of what they have to do. I mean, they're trying to dump as much water as they can. They can't dump salt water on a lot of it. One, because it'll damage their equipment, and two, you'll kill the environment. You can dump it on all the houses, but you can't just go and dump it onto the forestry and stuff like that because it's just it will kill nature, and then the fires. Then fires will be worse next year.
Well, they'll be worse next year. Then you have to worry about the watch. Just because Mother Nature's a jerk, there will be a bunch of rain, and there'll be the torrential mudslides.
Right.
Yeah, it's a really shit situation. And Harrison Phillips, he's the NFLPA rep for the Vikings to the NFL, and a defensive lineman and team captain. He said, the optics of trying to play a football game in LA right now is there's bigger things at stake here. We understand that we have to go to work, we have to do a job, but trying to go and play right now is it's not the right thing to do in LA. There's bigger things to worry about. And he's 100% right. And we're sitting here and we're talking about football, and it's you got to understand the humanity and the loss, and how do you rebuild from something like that? Where do you start? I couldn't even imagine. So definitely. Like I don't know, James. I've known a couple of people who had to evacuate when they were down there. Who
Right.
lived
I
beside.
mean, I after living in my own place for almost 15 years now, having to lose everything in here, try to move all my animals out at the last second, like some of these people had to do.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you what would be going through my mind right now. It definitely wouldn't be football. Like if
right,
I was in, I definitely
right,
wouldn't be football.
right.
Don't get me wrong. I would probably like at the end of the day on a Monday night, I'd turn on the game, but I would just be like staring at the game. I
Right.
wouldn't
It's
be
just
as
at that
into it.
point. At that point, it's like you need a distraction. It's like losing a
Right.
loved one, where it's like I just need a distraction for a couple hours here. Um, I will get on my crazy violent leftist soapbox here for a minute. Hey, State Farm, all those fire insurance policies you canceled at the beginning of the year, you can go fucking fuck yourself. Those people have been
Right.
paying you for those houses for decades. Where's their fucking money? You're going to cancel their
Yeah.
shit and not fucking help them rebuild? This is why CEOs get fucking shot. So tread lightly, State
Mhm.
Farm. You can do the right thing here, or you can go into hiding. Do what you got to
Right.
do.
Yeah. Dude, that shit was just that I
It's
we're about to
unspeakable levels of cruelty.
we're about to see what happens to all this. What happens when you put all this legislation against these insurance agency and why they left, and it's going to be a huge toll to California now. It's I blame the CEOs mainly, but I also blame some of the legislation that California has put on some of these insurance companies that we the people have voted on and accepted as laws. We've kind of put it on ourselves a little bit, but I still blame the CEOs. 90% their fault, 10% our fault.
I'll give you that. It's the idea of I pay for a service. I've been paying for a service. That
Mm-hmm.
money should be there when I need it. And
That's what I mean. It's 90% their fault right now
right.
because it should be there for them.
Nope. I
And it's
fully
just
agree.
it's insane, man. It's something that we could talk about all day long, all night long. Because
Yeah,
what
I mean, just the footage you see coming out of LA is just like it's like something out of like a fucking disaster movie, or I mean, some of it's like, is this a video game sent in hell? Like, what is
right?
going on here, dude? It's
Like
wild. So
a few
it's
years
tough shit.
ago, I was real close to the Santa Cruz when they burnt up because it's the same
Right.
situation. Huge, very dry winter. All of a sudden, the sparks flew, and we had the high winds that weekend, and it just took out everything.
Yeah.
Everything. I thought that was bad until I saw the LA fires, and that was even worse.
Yeah.
And that the Santa Cruz one hit a little bit closer to home because it's like a stone's throw away from where I'm at, and so I was
Right.
kind of like, "Oh shoot, are we going to have to eventually evacuate because it was spreading just like the LA virus spreading? The ambers would jumping around, and jumping around, and luckily in Santa Cruz it's cooler and damper than in LA, and the winds finally died, and the rains came. So I'm hoping LA happens. The winds finally die, and they can start getting control of the
Right.
situation. Because even with 40-mile-per-hour winds in mountain passes where it's happening in LA, you can't control the fire. There's no
Yeah.
way you can contain it.
No way. You have to let it burn itself out.
Yeah, and it's sad to say. It's sad and it hurts to say, but in
Yeah.
the mountains, when there's a fire and the winds are up, it's a useless fight. They can try to dump as much water and try to bring in bulldozers and knock down brushes and everything else. It's an impossible fire to fight.
Yeah. I
If you're
agree.
in flatland, it's a little bit different because you can go out there and start tilling the land
You
and
can you
tearing up
can
the
you
land.
can cut lines and like do stuff like that. But in that rugged terrain, it's a lose-lose
Yeah,
situation. Something else I want to mention too, because it's been mentioned a lot, of the amount of prisoners or inmates or convicts who were out there on the fire crews. And I'm sorry, I feel like if you're out there and you're on a fire crew and you do duty and you go back and you somehow survive it all, when you come up for
yeah.
parole, you should get to go. You should get paroled. There
Yeah,
really shouldn't be
especially
a
these
whole.
guys that are on there. Yeah, because
Yeah,
they're not one, they're not flight risk, and two, they're non-violent.
right,
Let them out.
exactly. I mean, dude, the amount. So I had a friend who did a stretch in a state prison and got on a fire crew, and dude, just to even get the opportunity to do that, you have to be an exemplary inmate
Exactly.
to even get to
Yeah.
do that. So when this comes up and these guys come up for parole, I don't want this really should be just like a formality. Yeah, you get to go. Appreciate it. Best of luck.
And
They'll let us see you back here.
from what I hear, it is just a formality that you go through the parole hearing, and they usually, especially on a big fires like this, they release you. From what I
Good,
hear,
good.
but
Well, I mean,
who knows?
I hope to see that because there's been some other things in the Did you get it? You got it. There's
Yeah,
been
he
some
got
other
it.
things in the media recently of like prison labor and having prisoners. And this is basically a lot of it's happening in the South. People going and working in hotels and restaurants and stuff like that, and then getting denied parole when it comes up because they needed cheap labor, and that's
That's fucked up.
that's indentured servitude, slavery.
Right?
So,
Yeah, it is 100%.
yeah. So
100%.
anyhow, I'll get off my crazy violent leftist soapbox. Mr. FBI agent, hope you're having a pleasant Thursday.
All right, let's make these picks for the weeks with the spread.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. So first up, that's not Chargers Texans. What the hell did I do? No, it is Chargers Texans, right? Yeah. Okay. For some reason, I thought it was Bills Chargers. Nope. Texans are Chargers are favored by 3 points.
I take the Chargers and the points. I'm going Chargers and points.
I'm taking Texans with the points.
Okay.
I think, like I said, I think C.J. Stroud, Nico Collins, and Algier are big difference makers this week.
Aziz Al-Shaair.
Algiz as that.
Aziz Al-Shaair.
Al-Shaair.
There you go.
I think he's going to be a big difference maker in that defensive back end, and I think it really helps them kind of go over the hump. Especially against a struggling Chargers offense with the pass game. I think he helps stretch down the run game, and DeMeco Ryans is just an awesome defensive coordinator. I think he puts it on Justin Herbert to make him pass, and I think they just doesn't allow it to happen. The pass rush gets to Justin Herbert.
Ladd McConkey has been big nuts all down the stretch. Chargers pass game is not struggling. I think that if they go that route. Oh damn! You caught that. I think if they go that route,
that's a good catch. This one stopped me for a second.
Yeah, if DeMeco Ryans forces Justin Herbert to sit back there and pass, he might get picked apart.
I think the blitz game kind of comes up and helps him. So and he gives Herbert the happy feet. So
right.
So we'll see. I think it's going to be a great game to watch. I'm excited to watch it. That's one of those games that I'm excited to watch this week. Besides all these games are going to be great. Like the Steelers-Ravens.
The playoffs are always fun. Yeah.
Exactly. Like the Steelers-Ravens game, it's going to be closer than 9.5. Like I'm taking the Steelers with the points.
I think the Steelers cover. The Steelers cover the 9.5.
Yeah. Right. And it's just the Ravens are going to win.
Right.
Just because I don't think Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson throws a couple picks or does something silly with the ball.
Russell Wilson throws a couple picks because he's trying to fucking do something. And I think George Pickens. Right. Well, George Pickens is he's gonna take the bait from a Ravens DB, and you're gonna see some shenanigans on after a route or something like that, or he's gonna run the wrong route. But I also feel like Russell Wilson is going to get creative with his legs and extend plays with his legs. Russell Wilson will run for at least one touchdown in this game.
100%. I agree with you there. I mean, this is the third time these guys are facing each other in the same year, so this game's going to be a great game to watch.
Yeah, and they just played each other a couple weeks ago too. So
yeah, exactly. So they're fresh, they're ready to go. Pickens is going to be so much familiarity. Next up, we got the Broncos versus the Bills. Bills are favored by 8.5. I'm taking the Broncos with the points. I don't think it's going to be that big of a blowout. I think the Broncos defense gives Josh Allen trouble and trying to pass in that pass game, especially with Coral Sutton. He's going to kind of stand out and he's going to make sure he's heard. And I don't know. Bo Nix is a wild card. You don't know what he can do. Remember, the Rams put up...
Bo Nix has played in a lot of games. Denver's been playing playoff brand football down the stretch. So I don't think the moment's going to be too big for him. However,
but their defense has been letting offenses put up a lot of points on them. That's why I think this is a lot closer than people think.
I'm going to go with Buffalo in the points.
Buffalo in the points. Okay. All right. Next up, we got the Green Bay Packers versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles are favored by 5. Now, again, this is the one that I said that this is either going to go either way. Packers are going to make this a really close game where it's going to come down to a game-winning field goal, or they're just going to get blown out. So
I think you're going to see a bit of a repeat of Week 1 in Brazil, where it's going to come down to a last-minute play, like this a last gasp sort of thing. So I'm going to say the Packers cover.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Eagles to win out here.
Yep.
just kind of blow them out. I flipped a coin in my head and it said Eagles or blow them out. There's just that run game. They won't be able to keep up with that run game. They're just going to protect Hurts a little bit and let him just hand the ball off half the time.
Give Saquon, let him do his thing.
Yeah, so let him get over break that hump of the Eric Dickerson's record, even though it doesn't count in the playoffs.
Yeah,
but he's going
to count. Yeah,
yeah. That's why I threw up the quotes. Next up, the game of the week I still think is going to be the Commanders versus the Buccaneers. Buccaneers are favored by 3 points. It's going to be a beautiful day down in in Tampa Bay. It's going to be like 70 degrees and sunny because that's the way it is.
Perfect weather.
It's going to be perfect weather just like it is out here in California. That's why I wish the game would be out here in California. But we'll get back into that here in a minute. But yeah, I'm taking Commanders with the points. I just think Jaden Daniels is just going to show up in the fourth quarter and do what they did against the Eagles. Just keep putting up points. It doesn't matter. They're going to go out there and they're going to put up points. The Buccaneers aren't going to be able to keep up with them offensively.
That's what I think is going to happen too. I firmly think that it's too much. There's too much offensive firepower there. So I pick the Commanders and the points to cover.
Right. Like you said, there's just too much offensive firepower there for the Buccaneers to keep up. Don't get me wrong. I think the Buccaneers have a strong defense, especially with Vita Vea clogging up the center every snap. It's just Jaden Daniels is going to be able to run around a little bit and get those run around and be able to find people that are open. And lastly, Monday night, like you said, now in Arizona. Rams versus Vikings. When I wrote it down, the Rams were only favored by 2 points, so we're going to go with that. Vikings were only favored by 2 points, so we're going with that. It might be 2.5 now. But we'll give the Rams the 2 points, and I'm going with the Rams with the points. I think this is something that LA needs desperately, and the players want to give it to them desperately. So it's going to be, one of those New Orleans Saints Hurricane games where the town rallies around the team and helps do whatever they can to help them win.
Right, and that's exactly why I'm picking all the Snowbirds who are turning this into a Vikings home game and for the Vikings to cover the points.
Cover the points? All right. Well, yeah, I think the Rams win. This is going to be a good game to watch too, though.
Yes. It's for one, like, I didn't know what to do on Monday night without football on.
Right, yeah, dude. Especially this Monday. Yeah, I was right there with you.
It's the first week back from vacation, and there's no. What do I do? What do I do?
It's not even playoffs yet. There was a couple of when these two first teams played, they're both missing a couple players. The Rams just got a couple people back from injury. Jared Verse was running around like a demon, mad, possessed demon in that backfield. Creating Sam Darnold's nightmare, and I think that's going to happen. That's going to be a repeat. Brandon Fisk is a little bit better too, and he's grown in his game since then. So that's going to be another tough thing for them. Such a great scoring drive, such a dude. Yeah, I was waiting for you to catch up.
Put it on the table, son. Jesus Christ, they had him stopped 3 times. That was a hell of a run right
there, dude. That's why I was stumbling and bumbling here myself.
Nice. Compared to the Thursday night games, you always have to take with a very large grain of salt because nobody's really ready to play.
No.
Now you factor in the moving, Minnesota coming off a demoralizing loss. I think if anything, the change of scenery works in their favor. It's more of a neutral site game as opposed to playing in front of. Everyone says SoFi gets really loud because of the way they had to dig it out to get it below the flight restricted level.
Right. And from what I was hearing, it was 90% Rams were buying the tickets.
Dude, what? It's a home playoff game. Like, if your sorry ass fan base can't come out for a home playoff game, like, I get that the Niners routinely travel more, and it's easier. It's a fucking $100 Southwest flight from the Bay down to LA.
Yeah,
but if you can't outsell it, for a wild card game against the Vikings, then you really need to question your marketing program or ticket pricing or something.
The Vikings travel really well, so that's what worried me a little bit.
Vikings fans travel well, especially this time of year. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
that's what worried me a little bit.
Yeah,
That's what worried me a little bit. Just how well the Vikings fans can travel and how much they would want to get out of Minnesota to go see a game. So I was a little worried. I didn't think it was going to be 90%. 90% is huge. I thought it was going to be closer to 80.
Yeah,
So when I heard that, I was stoked.
Yeah, I think you're going to probably see closer to 60-40. I mean, really, who knows what the crowd's going to look like? You're going to have a bunch of dudes there who are like, yeah, I just got to tailgate on a Monday, play football, bro. Let's go.
Right, yeah. There's going to be so many Arizona fans there that are probably going to be rooting for the Vikings to win,
That's a good point. I didn't think of the division rivalry aspect of it. Yeah.
Right. And it seems like both these teams are fairly injury free. I think I saw like Sam Darnold was a full practice today.
Yeah,
Aaron Jones was limited.
It's the playoffs. Everyone's dinged up. It's a long season, but in terms of major injuries, nothing major to note. So
right, exactly. And then it's going to be
on the fucking 2.
Dumb move. I did not see that. Another thing was the Titans tight end didn't play in Week 8 versus the Rams. He was injured. What's his name?
Oh, you mean the Vikings tight end?
Yeah, the Vikings tight end.
T.J. Hawkinson.
So he's going to be, the Rams,
he's a problem. He's a massive nightmare. Right. He's a massive nightmare for everybody. I mean, he is one of those prototypical West Coast offense, tight ends. Like, he blocks, he runs. Like, you can't cover him with a linebacker. He's too fast. He's too big to cover him with a DB.
Right. So what they're talking about is bringing in dropping down Lake from safety and coming be in the slot, or it's going to be Troy Reader. If Troy Reader's had, my affiliation with Troy Reader, he's giving me headaches all year.
His name, Troy Reader's been mentioned too much on this podcast for the wrong reasons this year.
Exactly. So that's what scares me a little bit. That's why I had to bring it up. I'm worried because the Rams shut down everybody else besides.
Dude, he's going to the concussion protocol.
Yeah, dude, he looked dazed there.
Well, helmet to helmet and then helmet to earth.
The Rams shut down everybody but Justin Jefferson last time they shut down Aaron Jones in the running game, and they shut down Addison and everybody else. So this week we'll have Witherspoon covering Jefferson, and then hopefully Quentin Lake will step up and put up some.
I'll tell you this. Akello Witherspoon is going to need help over the top to cover Justin Jefferson.
Right. And we'll have John Johnson III will be back in this game. He finally got off the injured reserve. They brought him back and placed Blake Corum, unfortunately, on injured reserve because of the fractured forearm.
Yeah.
I don't know. You probably didn't get to see it. It looked like he was a wedge blocker trying to block a bunch of linemen, and he just got blown up, dude. During a kickoff.
Yeah.
It was bad.
I wonder how much Blake Corum you were really going to see in this game. Anyway, it was going to be large doses of Kyron Williams. But I mean,
last week I was hoping to see a big. This was going to be his come out game. He's going to he's going to come up, put up some numbers, and he's going to give what's his face a run for his money next year around. He's going to give Williams.
Yeah.
I
mean, Kyron Williams really has become a breath of fresh air and a discovery for the Rams right there. But again, we all, as a 49ers fan, I can attest to how much you need depth at running back.
Right.
So, you always need help there. So if you're a Rams fan, you got to hope that, Kyron Williams doesn't take like a helmet to the hand or get a stinger or something like that. Because at that point, the defense knows, well, obviously they're going to throw now. So we're going to
get the ball to Rivers. No.
Exactly. And we all know Matt Stafford is not what you call a nimble dude in the pocket these days.
No. But the last time they did play again, he had his best game of his career against the Vikings, and this Brian Flores defense. So,
we'll see. And I am also curious as to the lessons. Like, you got to figure, like, there was a group of dudes looking at film while they were getting their asses kicked by the fucking Lions last week.
Oh yeah.
Looking ahead to this game just in case. And
right.
And Brian Flores is going to make adjustments. You are not going to see that same defense for sure.
No.
It's going to be.
And I don't expect to.
Look, Brian Flores against McVay, dude. This is what it's all about, dude. Like
and Stafford's, because Stafford's going to go out there and change the play calls like he did last week or against the first time he played against them.
Penn State moving the ball at will on this drive.
all of a sudden, they're coming alive. They're like, wait, we can't let this game get away from us.
Right. Well, yeah, we need to tie it up right here, and then so much for the defensive battle I predicted. defenses have it on the field a lot. I think you're seeing a little everyone's sucking air a little bit. So
Exactly.
that's also a hold.
Right. It was
They
major
not throw a
hold.
flag on that?
No, they didn't.
Jesus, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a bad hold there. That should have gotten called.
That was obvious. That was a rough one. Oh, well, what you gonna do?
All right. Speaking of Brian Flores here, I got one more spreadsheet for us to take a look at here. The fired coaches.
Monday was as advertised in the NFL, and it's rolled into Black Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Right. Here we go. Robert Saleh was the first one to take the axe back in week 5? Week 6?
Something like that. Yeah, it was after wasn't that after the London game?
Something like that. Yeah, he didn't. Yeah. Pretty much, he didn't come back. And I thought that was a big blow to their defense. Like, there's no way you let Robert Saleh leave that early. I don't get it. And their defense struggled the rest of the year, and it was obvious that they struggled. So I'm surprised Brian Flores isn't mentioned in any of the reports I've seen from New York. But right now, the big headliners are Mike Vrabel, Ron Rivera, thank you, Arthur Smith, and Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah,
are their high notes that I heard.
Yeah, I can see that. As we touched on earlier, it's really going to depend what they want to do. I mean, it's kind of an assumption that Aaron Rodgers is gone, and if I'm a coach, I also am going to. Normally, you get the GM and then you get the coach, unless you're looking at one of these candidates with the GM in mind who already knows each other. Joe Douglas was fired about 5-6 weeks after Saleh. Woody Johnson landed his helicopter on the practice field and got out and fired him.
I loved hearing about that. I totally forgot he did do that.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, this just points to the level of egotistical douchebaggery that Aaron Rodgers exhibits. He burned this franchise to the ground in 2 years. Like, that's what they get for. It's kind of impressive how quickly he absolutely took the hope and joy and everybody they brought around and then destroyed it. It really is. Like, I fuck shit up real well all the time, but this is like some high level stuff, you know?
You want to create a vaccine? I'll make sure you don't get money from your football team.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, I don't think I would go as far as to say that the Jets aren't making money as a
right.
Yeah, as a football team, but. Yeah. Moving on, Dennis Allen got canned. Oh, I don't know, because Dennis Allen was never long for that job anyway. I'm literally surprised.
Right.
And I know that John Gruden is currently in more litigation with the NFL here, but who's to say that John Gruden wouldn't want to come back and coach Derek Carr and bring Devontae Adams to New Orleans? Think about it. You got Devontae Adams. You put Devontae Adams on one side, Chris Olave on the other, Derek Carr quarterback.
Yeah, that's a deadly.
Kamara back there and John Gruden dialing it up. It sounds great on paper. It sounds great on paper.
This number flips. They go 12-5 next year. If that happens.
I could also see that being a Joe Brady or a Kellen Moore dream job to get in there and to be able to coach an offense in that dome right there. Matt Eberflus got fired after Thanksgiving. We all watched. We all gathered around with our families and watched the penultimate bed shitting. Like,
right. Dude, how do you not call a timeout there? Like, and then allow your quarterback to change the play and still not call a timeout?
How do you not call a timeout if you're fucking Caleb Williams, dude? Like,
right.
There's blame on. I mean, there's blame to go around there for sure.
Well, I get Caleb Williams not calling a timeout because he's a rookie quarterback coming into the situation that he's not 100% prepared for.
I disagree entirely, dude. You're the quarterback changing the play, and you see the clock running. Call a timeout. You have one more play left. Like, and I get he's a rookie. Whatever. Yes and no on the Caleb. Look, someone should have called a timeout. It's straightforward there.
It's the what do they call it? The offensive planner, or whatever they call them. Like that shows you how bad they are fucking up Caleb Williams and all these rookie quarterbacks. Is that they don't have contingency plans or they don't go over this kind of shit in the locker room.
You're right. I get that you want to simplify the playbook year one. I get that.
Right.
But this is like street football sort of stuff. You're changing the play. You have one shot left. If they call a timeout, they might have two plays left.
Right. Oh, they definitely have 2 plays left. I 100% guarantee you they have 2 plays left.
Now, the interesting name on the Chicago Bears list is Pete Carroll.
Right.
Like the
and
fact
I
that
think
he
he would be a great
wanting
fit.
to return to the NFL, I think is super interesting, and he's already been linked to the Bears job.
Right.
Now, does he bring in like former Seattle assistants, like some of the guys that got let go when he left that have been scattered out around the league? He's going to put the band back together in Chicago? Could be. That could be a very interesting move there. Again, Cliff Kingsbury is also an interesting choice because you see what he did this year with Jaden Daniels in Washington. Can he do this? Can he work the Magic 2 years in a row? Would he leave Washington, depending on what sort of postseason run they make here, to continue, going and trying to get a ring? Oh, nice.
The interception, yeah. Dude, damn. Yeah, dude, I agree. Like, it does because Cliff Kingsbury is pretty much on everybody's list right here on this thing. And would he want to leave what he's doing in Washington and get shitted on again by another? Like, I could see him if he goes to like the Patriots, him wanting to go to the Patriots.
We'll get to work with Drake May.
Saints.
It's the same thing working with Drake May. Yeah, I get
could
that.
see the same thing with the Saints. Because there are organizations that don't shit the bed like the Jets, the Jags, and the Raiders.
Right.
I mean, maybe the Raiders too, because now that they bring in Tom Brady, I could see him being a good fit there and having rebuilding. Like, oh, let's go get a quarterback that fits your style, and we'll build a team around you.
Here's the question with the Raiders: are they gonna give Kingsbury or Ben Johnson or Saleh or whoever they bring in? Are they going to give them more than? Are they going to give them more than 2 years? I don't think. I mean,
I can see that. I could see that because Tom Brady's not stupid. He knows you need time to build an organization, and he's not going to allow. I don't think he'll allow them just to like start rolling through head coaches like Chicago or the Jets.
Let's also remember Tom Brady's a minority owner, and his name is not Mark Davis.
Right. But I think from what I hear, the rumors I hear is that he's got a big voice in that boardroom meeting.
Well, as well he should. I know that Richard Seymour is also in there, and I get the idea of wanting to have former Patriots in the room. They also tried that with McDaniel and Ziegler, and that went completely fucking haywire. I think a lot of that is more on McDaniel's just not being a good head coach. I would say the same thing about Kingsbury. Kingsbury has not been a good head coach. His teams at Oklahoma, faded down the stretch. His teams in Arizona faded down the stretch. I think he's one of those dudes who is just better suited to being an offensive coordinator.
I think so too, but I think he just needs time to develop his own coaching strategy and kind of.
Dude, he had 3 years to do that in Arizona.
But when you're a head coach
with his hand-picked quarterback.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is like it's different. I think there's time that he's spending as an offensive coordinator behind what's his name is just so much more beneficial to seeing how he runs an NFL organization compared to a college organization. It's just so much different, And
let's not forget Arizona has ownership issues, that kind of started at the top there. Like the new ownership in Washington, I mean, look how quickly they got it turned around. They went about it the right way. All right, hold on. Let me see what happens here. I can tell you your reaction.
No, they didn't. Oh, no, they didn't. Oh, no, they didn't.
Right back.
There's a flag, though.
Was that triple coverage he threw into?
That was triple coverage. There's a flag. Listen, dude, I'm waiting for this flag to come up.
Yeah.
They haven't announced yet. There's pass interference defense.
Oh.
Oh, that's huge, dude. That interception should have got counted. Oh, number 8 just takes him out. That's why. Number 8 just pretty much takes him out. You'll see in the replay. Number 8 he just jumps up and like, okay, I'm throwing my body in you.
Turn around. Turn your head. Dude, he didn't even need to do anything. Like 24 had that ball in his sights the entire time.
Right. If he would have turned around, he would have seen that too.
Yeah, just would have gotten out of the way. Yeah. That's rough. That's a rough one.
Right.
Moving down
Another
the
rough
list
one.
here, the Patriots. I was very surprised that again,
Right.
Robert
That was a
Kraft,
tough one. How do
guy,
you do that to him?
Jared Mayo. Like, yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like I thought that they showed a lot of fight down the stretch. I thought that Drake May is obviously the quarterback of the future there, and I
I
feel like
think
you after all of this stuff, you can't give Jared Mayo. Oh, what a nice Michelob Ultra commercial right there. Um,
right. I think
I
this
feel like
is
Jared
why they
Mayo
do it.
deserved more than a year.
Oh
I don't.
shit.
I can see Vrabel coming in. Maybe that's the guy that won the entire time. Bringing Aaron
Yeah.
Glenn in there would be good. But are they going to go with another defensive-minded head coach, or do you get a Leftwich who had a ton of success, working under Bruce Arians in Arizona and in Tampa Bay, with
Right.
Drake May? I think that could be the move right there.
Mm-hmm.
Is Robert Kraft really? Is he starting to get Jerry Jones, the Joe Biden level of senile? Is starting to get in there a little bit. Granted, he's also got some kids who are supposed to be shot callers. Bringing Vrabel in after the success he had, I get that, but I mean, he's a white version of Jared Mayo. Like, they're the same dude. Like,
Yeah. Like, so why would you fire Jared Mayo? Just
I
bring in
wouldn't get
Mike
that
Vrabel.
move. If you could get a
Yeah.
Ben Johnson or a Byron Leftwich, I think that is what you need for the
I can
continued
see
development of Drake May.
Ben Johnson loving this job and coming to being a Patriot. I can really see that. I can really see this being Ben Johnson's gig for the taking. Out of all these gigs, besides the Saints, this would be his most appealing. Would be the Patriots, because he knows it's not a crap organization, and they'll listen to him with the new GM or whatever GM. They'll be
Right.
on the same team. They'll know what they want, and this could be his job for the taking over everybody else. I really think so.
Right. Moving on here, Doug Peterson let go by Jacksonville after just a disastrous season. It has been kind of going off the rails there for a little bit. I feel like Doug Peterson is very similar to what happened to Jim Harbaugh. Shad Khan is listening to Trent Baalke. If you are serious about building a winning organization, you shouldn't listen to anything Trent Baalke has to fucking say.
Yeah, especially what he did to that Niners organization. Yeah,
he left the cupboards bare, and whoever comes in here, you're going to be like, all the leaks and all the back and forth and shit going to the media was Trent Baalke the entire motherfucking time. And the same thing happened here in Jacksonville. Watch out for any coach that comes in and takes this job. I could see it actually going to like a Mike Vrabel or a Bobby Slowick, because they're going to be a scapegoat.
Right. And same thing with Brian Flores. I could see the same thing with Brian Flores coming in there and
I
like,
don't know
okay,
if Brian Flores is, maybe Shad Khan would, but remember, like, Brian Flores pissed off a lot of people in the high position of power by pointing out that, like, I got screwed in Miami. They asked me to lose fucking games, and then I got fired for it. Like, that's bullshit,
right. Honestly, I think that's what happened with Gerard Mayo, and he told him to go fuck off, and then they kicked him out the next day.
Yeah, I would be very curious to see what the behind the scenes conversation was in New England there. But the Jacksonville job is like, okay, you got Trevor Lawrence, you've got some pieces there. Did Doug Peterson's message just started falling on deaf ears because he'd been there for so long? Who knows? For the right guy, the Trevor Lawrence is could be exciting. But again, I look at Trent Baalke. He's not good at draft picks. He's not good at scouting. I just feel like until you get rid of him, this is not an exciting job.
And this AFC South is ripe for the picking. Don't get me wrong; the Texans are in the top right now, but that could easily change with Trevor Lawrence and CJ Stroud going head to toe every game. They could easily be 1 and 2. They could.
I mean, Houston got decimated by injury, so you figure that Houston's going to be healthier next year. Right. Indianapolis, is Anthony Richardson the guy? I personally don't think so.
No.
Tennessee is in a full-blown rebuild. They fired their GM too. I think Brian Callahan gets 1 more year, and then he's fired.
Right.
So they're in a full-blown rebuild. So if you're Jacksonville, you still got a lot of talent on that roster. Can you get someone in there to try to get all that to coalesce and gel together before Baalke goes and starts leaking stuff to the media? You're going to have about a year to 2 to get that done. Right. So
and I think they can. I think, like I say, if they can get rid of get over the Baalke hump, Jacksonville can turn this season around real quick next year.
I agree. Actually, there's still a lot of talent there. And then lastly, Antonio Pierce. Man, Antonio Pierce is given an impossible task and no quarterbacks. Um, the Vegas job is intriguing. You have some pieces on offense. You have Max Crosby. You have Brock Bowers. You've got a ton of cap space. You've got Brady and Richard Seymour trying to help direct traffic here. They did just fire Tom Telesco today as well, so now you're going to have a new GM coach combo.
Yeah, I got that on that too. Yeah, I got that there.
I saw that. I was surprised they didn't fire them on the same day. The Deion Sanders thing, that's intriguing. I think his son's gone by Raiders drafting at like 7. I think Shador's gone by 7.
Right.
Yeah,
so
I think
would he want to go coach against his own son? No, exactly.
He's either going to coach his son or stay at Colorado. Belichick just took the job at UNC, so he's not going to do that. I would, again, this is a job, depending on the young quarterback they get, where Ben Johnson or Clinsbury could be very, very intrigued by it.
So, interesting about Belichick's contract in North Carolina is that there's a lot of buyouts early for really cheap, for like $1 million.
Belichick's going to do a year at UNC. They just poached a quarterback out of the portal that they really wanted. He's going to do a year at UNC, and then the NFL is going to just start being like, Bill, please, we love you. Here's a whole bunch of money and all of the control. Please come back. And then he'll go.
With all the buyouts, I completely
think Belichick does a year at UNC.
Okay. I can see that. I can definitely see that. But man, it's going to be an interesting offseason. Once you start hearing some more of these interviews go down, especially around the NFC Championship games, see who's going there and going where. It'll be real interesting to see.
Saleh interviewed with the Niners today for the defensive coordinator position. There's also a defensive assistant who was under Aaron Glenn, who interviewed for the defensive coordinator position as well.
I don't see Saleh walking out of that interview today. I'm surprised we haven't heard him. They're like, oh yeah, we're signing Saleh tomorrow.
I think they're just doing their due diligence.
Right.
And I'm sure that Saleh has other offers on the table. It might not be a Niner thing. It might be a Saleh thing.
Right. Because I bet. And it's not like they parted ways in bad terms.
Robert Saleh got his he was a defensive assistant in Seattle under Gus Bradley. Then Gus Bradley got the head coaching gig in Jacksonville, and that was where Saleh went and got his first defensive coordinator job before he came and joined Shanahan in San Francisco. So you never know if Jacksonville were to offer him the gig,
right?
Maybe he wants to go back there. But again, I also feel like someone who's been in the 49ers organization wouldn't go work for Trent Baalke again.
Right.
Like if there's any warning that came out of that room is you don't go work for Trent Baalke. So.
And again, he probably doesn't want to go to another poorly run organization from the top down.
I don't think. I think Shad Khan is a good owner. He's been shown he's willing to spend the money and to do what needs to be done to get talent. But how do you offset again? We're really just hating on Trent Baalke today, which is fine because he'll get fucked. But
you're hating on him more than the Army, but it makes more sense.
How much of Shad Khan's influence can offset Baalke doing his Baalke things? I think Saleh is going to have really probably any defensive coordinator gig he fucking wants and a handful of head coaching jobs out there. I still think he comes back to San Francisco, rebuilds his reputation. I mean, think about it, dude, 2 years of Aaron Rodgers and Woody Johnson and all that, dude. I just want to go home and hang out with my people and, coach Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. That's easy. It's fucking easy, great. Go and do that. Do you want to do that? Rebuild my reputation and then go get another head coaching job.
Right. I mean, I could see that. I mean, 1 or 2 years back in the Niners with the Niners defense.
It would be a year. It would be a year tops.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing. Do you want this? See, and this is the first year in a long time that Coach McVay got to go up there and be like, hey, has anybody came to you about interviews yet? And in the last 2 days, and he said, nope, no one's came to ask me for interviewing coaches. I'm just like,
they poached finally. And now, if the Rams make a deep playoff run, that might change. But yeah, and same thing. There's no one really trying to poach anyone from the Niners this year, and really, I don't blame them. I mean, you could go and look at Clay Kubiak or Brian Greasy, but those are Shanahan's boys. Those are his dudes. Those guys aren't going anywhere unless it's just a ridiculous offer, obscene amounts of power and money and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it'll be as the coaching carousel spins, it's gonna get interesting.
Right, and there's probably gonna be another one added to this coaching list too
after the playoffs. I can see
because there's 6 and they're projecting 7, so we'll see.
I think if the Bucks flame out in the first round, I could see Todd Bowles getting fired.
What about the Eagles? What if they flame out in the first round? Ooh, nice little jump.
Nothing would make me happier than to see Sirianni get fired and then the Eagles implode. But I don't know if that's going to happen.
Right, but that's the thing. So it was there was a hot seat on him in the beginning of the year.
Right,
his seat was real hot.
Well, that more had to do with how they faded down the stretch last year after that Niner game. Like they went 1-7 down the stretch. Like that was unreal. A lot of that had to do though. He went into the right things. He went and got good coordinators in Fangio and Kellen Moore. And hey, look where they're at now. So that just goes to show, what they needed to do. If they flame out in the first round, dude, I don't know. That's a tricky one. That would really depend on, I think, the conversation that he has with.
This game's getting good, bro. This game's getting good.
No. Well, when the defensive back falls down, you better make it count.
Right, and it was single head over safety, and it just, the safety had no chance to cover him there.
Well, and then he got put in a blender on top of it.
Yeah, one cut and he was gone. Done.
Let me see where this dude, where he shakes him. Yeah, right there. Oh yeah.
Yeah. He just at the top of the route, just boom, one chip shot, and he's done, or one little cut in, and he was done.
Shaker. Yeah.
Dude, fucking good game. So, what a good game, man.
Yeah, there will definitely be another name added to this list in the next couple of weeks for sure. So,
do you think anybody from the AFC side? Let's see, because it'll be Buffalo, no. Broncos, no. Ravens, no. Steelers,
no.
Do you think they're okay with them keep losing in the first round of the playoffs?
I think they keep going to the playoffs, with questionable quarterback play every year.
Right. And then Houston, no, and Chargers, no.
Right.
So, yeah, I guess it's just, honestly, it'd be, like you said, Tampa Bay or the Eagles, honestly.
Tampa Bay or the Eagles, I can see that. And it also depends, like, are they close games? Or if either of those teams get skunked in the first round, those cries will definitely get a lot louder.
Right. Yeah, and especially, I could see the Sirianni cry getting real loud real quick, too.
Well, my opinion on Nick Sirianni is well known. If not, he has the most punchable face in probably all of sports. He really does.
Right.
Like, I could fight Nick Sirianni to raise money to cure cancer. Like, just name time and place. Time and place. Let's do it.
All right. On that note,
I'm curing cancer, James. What are you doing?
Okay. When are they going to cure cancer, huh, Zach? What $1 million organization that makes millions of dollars every year off cancer research and drugs is going to let you cure cancer for fighting Sirianni?
Look, it's to raise money to cure cancer kids. Cure kids with cancer. American Cancer Society. Fuck it. I'll start my own fucking philanthropic organization to help kids with cancer. Because if you want kids to die from cancer, you're a real asshole.
Right. Yeah.
Think about it. How's Sirianni going to get over on me at that point? See, he can't. His hands.
Well, you can't be like South Park and just give kids AIDS.
I'm going to cut that clip and just turn that into our new intro. You can't just give kids AIDS. That's not how. It's not how any of this shit works.
You haven't seen that where they made fun of the guy from Subway?
I have seen that. I know the South Park you speak of. Yeah, I laughed at it because I'm inappropriate. I'm a big dumb clown.
It's hilarious. But yeah, I think that's our playoff predictions. I got the Rams winning the whole thing. Zach's got the Bills winning the whole thing.
Yes, sir.
depending on what happens this week, my playoff bracket will definitely change or might change.
I think our brackets will look markedly different come Tuesday morning. So yeah.
yeah. We'll keep up with it. That's going to be a rolling. That's going to be a rolling thing we're going to do. We'll update our bracket every week because you never know who gets hurt, what happens.
Right.
So it's any given Sunday out there sometimes, and it's definitely going to be any given Saturday and Sunday and Monday this week.
Yes, sir.
I'm looking forward to finish off the rest of this game. I don't know about you, man. This game's getting good. This bowl game's getting real good.
I'm excited to see how what it comes down to here. Can we just get some overtime? Let's just go to overtime, boys.
Dude, overtime for the Orange Bowl, dude, that would be fantastic, dude.
For a chance to go play for the championship, yes.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
I can't believe we're finally down to the Final Four, man. I didn't think we're ever going to get here the way it was going, dude. It took forever to get to these games after the season ended.
But you know what? We got a bunch of good football out of it, so I'm not mad. So
I'm not mad either. It's just it took forever to get here. I feel like when the playoffs come for like the football, they're just done. Like all of a sudden, it's going to be middle of February. And it's going to be the Super Bowl.
I feel like the NFL playoffs fly by so quick, and like all of a sudden we're at that week, that extra week before the Super Bowl, and it's like, man, this is it, And then
it's like
then we're waiting for the draft, and we're waiting for the schedule release, and we're waiting, for the combine and all that. So, but it's
waiting for who hires coaches get hired here, coaches get fired, or GMs get hired and stuff like that. Yeah. We're just kind of dragging at strings. Oh, I hear. The Niners are trying to trade for Tyreek Hill because he wants out of Miami.
I don't want Tyreek Hill, dude. Like, I got to do what's best for my family. Well, which family? You had 5 kids this year, dude. Like,
all right. That's probably why he wants out of Miami.
Took yourself out of a game. Like, no, that's going to do nothing to – this is the same dude he said he wasn't being utilized enough in Kansas City after setting a career high and a franchise record for receptions.
Right.
He's going to go somewhere else, but I mean, the more you jump around, you start becoming like OBJ. Although Tyreek Hill doesn't have the injury history, like your options, like Kansas City, great choice. Miami, great choice. Like the third stop, probably not as good as those two.
Nope.
Like, does he go to the Rams?
To the Steelers?
The Steelers. I mean, again, like, does he have CTE already, and they just really need to just really kickstart it into full gear?
Maybe, dude.
Well, and then the other question is too, like, what do the Steelers do at quarterback in the offseason? Both those guys are on 1-year deals.
Right. Well, I think they're going to go with Justin Fields. I really do. I really think he's going to sit down. He's been able to sit down, watch Russell Wilson take the reins and run an NFL quarterback room. And I think it's going to do wonders for him. I think you're going to see a different Justin Fields next year than you did to see at Chicago, because he looked good at the beginning of the year. And what's his face said? Oh, I made the coach. I was a coach. I am the coach. I'm making the decision to put in Wilson.
Yeah, and it worked well up until lately. I mean, it did. Then where does Russell Wilson end up next year?
That's going to be a tough one, Does he retire? Does he just say no?
I think after what you've seen this year, Russell Wilson still has plenty left in the tank.
Right. And it shows too. He can definitely a starting quarterback, in the NFL.
I mean, if he gets a little bit of help from his receivers on Saturday night, they win that game.
They do.
Blitz pickup. Good job.
Right. 24 came in like a hot.
You're gonna sell out on that.
If it was a little bit bigger of a linebacker, he would have gotten blown up. But yeah.
Yeah, I know he sacrificed his body for it. So
right.
All right. Well, hey everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. We will see you next week with our updated picks for the Super Bowl for the playoff bracket, and as well as the college football final. We'll probably start talking a little bit more about hockey as we transition sports seasons here.
Right.
As always, follow us on all the various platforms. Your opinions are welcomed. Probably not listened to, but we will read them. We might not do anything, but we'll give them we'll probably talk shit about you off the air. Hell, if they're good enough or bad enough, we might talk shit about them on the air.
definitely
please
would.
like, follow, subscribe. Send us any questions, any cool stuff you think that needs to be brought to our attention. Please send it our way. And as always, the easiest way to make money on the internet is to scare people. So everyone have a good night. See you next week.
All right. See everybody next week. You guys all have a good night.